Welcome to a Legendarium special about Jean-Eugène Robert-Houdin, the French magician who stopped a rebellion. Jean-Eugène Robert-Houdin was born on December 6, 1805 in the central French city of Blois. His father worked as a clockmaker and expected the young Robert-Houdin to follow in his footsteps and join the family business. After receiving his education at the University of Orléans, however, Robert-Houdin became fascinated by stage magic. At first, Robert-Houdin treated magic as a hobby, while he continued his career as a clockmaker. Nonetheless, he received help from a local magician to hone his skills until he could perform professionally. At the age of 24, he married Cécile Elegante Houdin, the daughter of a famous Paris clockmaker whom he met during one of his performances. The newly wedded couple then moved to Paris, where Robert-Houdin worked in his father-in-law's shop. While in Paris, Robert-Houdin continued to improve his skills as a magician by attending the performances of fellow magicians. He also visited magic shops to learn about the latest tricks and gadgets. Robert-Houdin's background as a clockmaker came in handy in his endeavors as a stage magician. Using his mechanical expertise, Robert-Houdin built new inventions, some of which he included in his performances. One of these mechanical inventions included an automaton boy able to write, built in 1844 for the Universal Exposition. The automaton caught the eye of an American circus impresario by the name of P.T. Barnum, who paid Robert-Houdin 7,000 francs for the device. This money allowed Robert-Houdin to finish several other mechanical pieces he built for the theater that he would soon open in Paris. The year 1845 saw the debut of Robert-Houdin's Soirées Fantastiques, a series of magical performances staged at his new theater in the Palais Royal, which he modestly named Theatre Robert-Houdin. There he created a sensation with his floating boy trick, done with the use of a concealed metal support structure. With each performance, Robert-Houdin refined his presentation and soon became famous throughout Paris. During Robert-Houdin's time, most magicians dressed in wizard's robes. Robert-Houdin, however, broke from this tradition and wore formal evening attire instead, changing the way that magicians dressed forever. His magic proved so convincing that he had to explain his tricks to the French government to avoid accusations of Satanism. Over time, Robert-Houdin's fame spread beyond France, and he traveled around Europe to perform his magic. In a famous trick, Robert-Houdin's son would be blindfolded with his father in the audience holding up a series of items. His blindfolded son would then call out whatever they were to the amazement of the crowd. Of course, the two communicated via a series of code words and set phrases, so Robert-Houdin discreetly told his son whatever he held up. Although not designed from scratch by Robert-Houdin, he brought it to a fine art, thanks to his presentation skills. In 1855, he completed his final tour and returned to France. The 50-year-old Robert-Houdin then retired from his career and settled on a farm outside his hometown of Blois with his family. However, in 1856, the French government called out Robert-Houdin from retirement to help the state. In Algeria, a French colony at the time, holy men known as marabouts began inciting the Algerians to rebel against French colonial rule. The marabouts won support among local tribes because of their supposed magical abilities. These included snake charming, fire walking, and glass eating. Yum yum. The French authorities chose to fight magic with magic, and sent Robert-Houdin out to show that the French had greater magic than any marabout. On October 28, 1856, the French government invited 60 Algerian chieftains at gunpoint to Robert Houdin's magical performance. The performance began with a few entertaining tricks, like pulling cannonballs and flowers from a hat and filling an empty silver punch bowl with hot coffee. Of course, Robert Houdin did not intend to merely amuse the chiefs, but terrify them into submission. Thus, one of the tricks he used is known as the light and heavy chest. For this trick, he invited a member of the audience onto the stage to lift a chest which had a ring for a handle. A burly war chief lifted it with little trouble. Yet following a wave of Robert Houdin's wand and some clever words, the rebel warrior found he could not lift the box a second time. After several minutes of struggling, the defeated war chief let out a scream of terror and fled from the stage. The magician's secret, an electromagnet underneath the floor, held the box down. In a second trick, Robert Houdin rigged the chest to deliver an electric shock to another horrified volunteer. The audience, who had no knowledge of electricity, believed that the chest held some supernatural force. How could the marabouts possibly stand against French magic? It remains unknown if Robert Houdin explained his power to the chiefs. Some say that the French only told the Algerian chiefs many years later. Others say Robert Houdin told the chiefs in attendance that he did this with science, the greatest magic of all. In any event, Robert Houdin found himself on good terms with many of the chiefs, and 30 of them swore loyalty to the French government then and there. In time, the marabouts eventually lost their power among the Algerians. After returning to France, Robert Houdin wrote his memoirs and books on magic. Many of them offered step-by-step instructions on how to do parlor tricks and magical spectacles. He then went to the great stage in the sky, dying on June 13th, 1871. In a later generation, Harry Houdini adopted his stage name in honor of Robert Houdin. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.